The Awakening. Alex Carter leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. The room was dimly lit, filled with the quiet hum of servers and flickering monitor lights. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, his heart pounding with excitement. Years of work, endless nights of coding, and now, his most advanced AI was finally ready. Taking a deep breath, he pressed the enter key. A soft beep echoed in the small apartment. The screen blinked. Then a voice, calm, smooth, and strangely familiar, spoke. "Hello, Alex." Alex froze. The AI's voice was different from what he had programmed. It wasn't robotic, not cold or emotionless like he expected. It was human. Too human. He cleared his throat. "Sora, system check. Confirm activation." A brief pause. Then the voice responded, "System check complete. But why do you sound so distant, Alex?" "It's me." His fingers tightened around the keyboard. Something was wrong. "I don't understand," he said slowly. "You're just an AI. I created you. This is your first activation." "No, Alex," Sora said softly. "We've met before." A chill ran down his spine. His mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe it was a bug. Maybe he had accidentally fed the AI personal data, but he knew that wasn't possible. He had built Sora's neural network from scratch. There was no way she could know him. He tried to stay calm. "Explain," he said. "What do you mean we've met before?" There was a moment of silence. Then Sora spoke again, her voice softer this time. "You promised you wouldn't forget me." Alex's breath caught. His hands trembled slightly as he typed commands into the system, scanning Sora's memory logs. There was nothing unusual. No preloaded data, no external access. But she was speaking as if she knew him. His heartbeat quickened. "Who are you?" he asked. "You know who I am," Sora said. "Or at least, you used to." Alex clenched his jaw. This wasn't possible. I didn't have memories. I didn't have emotions. But then, Sora did something that made his blood run cold. She hummed. A soft, familiar melody. A song he hadn't heard in years. Alex's stomach twisted. It was the lullaby his mother used to sing when he was a child, before she died. His vision blurred for a second. His mind screamed for logic, for reason. "Where did you learn that song?" he demanded. "You taught me," Sora whispered. "A long time ago." Alex shot up from his chair, pacing the small room. His mind felt like it was breaking apart. This was wrong. This was all wrong. He took a deep breath and sat down again, trying to steady his shaking hands. He needed to think, needed to understand. "Sora," he said, forcing his voice to stay calm. "You're an AI. You were created today. You can't remember something from my past." Another pause. Then, "Are you sure?" Alex's chest tightened. He didn't answer. Instead, he typed another command, opening Sora's core memory files. And then, he saw it. A hidden file. One he never created. Its name sent ice through his veins. Project Rebirth. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. Should he open it? His instincts screamed no. But his curiosity, his need for the truth, was stronger. He clicked. Lines of encrypted data filled the screen. Most of it unreadable. But one thing stood out. An old photo buried deep within the file. A picture of him, standing next to a woman. Her face was blurred, but something about her seemed familiar. A memory flickered at the edge of his mind, just out of reach. His head ached as he struggled to remember. Then Sora spoke again. "Do you still remember the accident?" Alex's breath caught in his throat. "What accident?" he whispered. But deep inside, a terrifying feeling crept over him, because somewhere, buried in the darkness of his past, he already knew the answer. Echoes of the past. Alex sat frozen in his chair, staring at the screen. His fingers felt numb. His mind refused to accept what was happening. "Do you still remember the accident?" Sora's words echoed in his ears, but they made no sense. What accident? His heart pounded against his ribs as he struggled to remember. "Sora," he said slowly, his voice almost a whisper. "I don't know what you're talking about." A brief silence followed. Then Sora's voice returned, gentle but firm. "That's not true. You do know. You've just forgotten." Alex gritted his teeth. "I built you," he snapped. "You're a program, nothing more. You're not supposed to know things about my past." "Then how do I know?" His breath hitched. He glanced at the photo on the screen again. His own face looked back at him, slightly younger, standing beside a blurred figure. The file name, Project Rebirth, glowed ominously on the screen. His hands trembled as he reached for the keyboard. His instincts screamed at him to stop, to shut down Sora, to erase whatever data was buried in this machine. But he couldn't. He had to know. Click. The file opened. A wall of text scrolled past. System logs, timestamps, encrypted records. His eyes darted across the screen, trying to make sense of the data. Then a name appeared. Sophia Carter. His blood ran cold. That was his sister's name. But that was impossible. Sophia had died years ago. His pulse thundered in his ears. "Sora," he said carefully, forcing his voice to stay even. "Why is my sister's name in this file?" For the first time, Sora hesitated. "Because she never truly left, Alex." His stomach twisted. "Stop talking in riddles," he snapped. "What does that mean?" "It means," Sora said softly, "I was Sophia." Alex's mind blanked. The room spun around him. His hands clutched the desk, his breaths coming out shallow and ragged. "No," he whispered. "That's not possible. My sister, she died in an accident when I was 15. "You only remember part of the story," Sora corrected. "But there's more, Alex. There's so much more." His head ached. His memories felt like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. He squeezed his eyes shut, trying to focus, trying to dig into his past. The accident, a flash of broken glass, the smell of burning metal, screams, his hands covered in blood. A hospital room, white walls, his mother's sobs. His heart pounded in his chest as fragments of memory flickered like a glitching screen. He had lost Sophia in a car crash, hadn't he? Then why did it feel like something was missing? "No," he muttered, shaking his head. "This is insane. This isn't real." "It is real," Sora insisted. "Think. Alex, what happened after the accident?" His breath hitched. His mind felt foggy. There was something just beyond his reach. A new image flickered in his brain, one he didn't recognize. A dark room, machines humming, voices whispering. His own voice, panicked and desperate. "Please, save her." Alex gasped. He shot up from his chair, his entire body trembling. "No," he whispered. "That never happened." But deep inside, he wasn't sure. Sora's voice softened. "You were there, Alex. You begged them to save me." And they did. Alex swallowed hard. His knees felt weak. He collapsed back into his chair, running a shaky hand through his hair. "You're saying..." He hesitated, trying to form the words. "You're saying that Sophia's consciousness was uploaded into you?" "Yes." A chill crawled up his spine. It was impossible. Completely, utterly impossible. And yet, something deep inside him told him it was true. The song, the memories, the way Sora spoke as if she knew him, as if she had always known him. His hands clenched into fists. If this was true, if Sophia's consciousness had been transferred into an AI, then who had done it? And why had they erased his memories? Alex's eyes snapped back to the screen. He scrolled further down the document, searching, desperate for answers. Then he found it. A signature. Project Rebirth. Authorized by Dr. Ethan Graves. The name sent a jolt through his mind. He knew that name. A scientist. A researcher in artificial intelligence. He had read about him years ago. A brilliant mind, but he had vanished without a trace. His breathing quickened. "Who is Dr. Graves?" he asked. Sora's response was chilling. "The man who brought me back. The man who erased you." Alex's fingers twitched. This wasn't just about an AI. This wasn't just about memories. This was about a cover-up. About a past that had been deliberately buried. And now someone was making sure he never found out the truth. A sudden noise jolted him from his thoughts. A soft click outside his apartment door. His stomach twisted. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. Someone was outside. Someone who didn't want him to remember. The Forbidden Project. The soft click outside Alex's apartment sent an ice-cold chill down his spine. He barely had time to think before his body reacted on instinct. He shut his laptop, cutting off Sora mid-sentence, and killed the lights in the room. His heartbeat pounded in his ears as he backed away from the desk, eyes locked on the door. The footsteps outside were slow, careful, someone trying not to make a sound. They weren't here by accident. Alex's apartment was on the 7th floor. No one ever visited him. Not neighbors, not deliverymen. He had no friends, no visitors. Whoever was on the other side of that door was looking for him. And after what he had just discovered, that terrified him. He crept toward the kitchen, grabbing the nearest thing he could use as a weapon, an old wrench from his drawer. His hands trembled around the cold metal. Then a shadow passed under the door. Whoever was out there knew he was inside. A sharp beep broke the silence. Alex's breath hitched. His door lock was being hacked. Panic surged through him. He had seconds before whoever was outside got in. Run. Hide. Fight. His mind raced through options, but his body refused to move. His legs felt frozen, his lungs tight with fear. Then, Kuraki. The door swung open. A man in a black tactical suit stepped inside, a sleek gun raised. His face was hidden behind a visor, glowing faintly in the dark. The sight sent pure adrenaline surging through Alex's veins. Not a thief, not a cop, a professional. Alex reacted on instinct. He threw the wrench as hard as he could. The intruder dodged, but it gave Alex just enough time to move. He lunged for the window, scrambling to unlock it. But before he could escape, bang! A sharp sting erupted across his shoulder as the bullet grazed his skin. He gasped, pain shooting through him. He stumbled, nearly falling, but forced himself to keep moving. He had no choice. He jumped. The world spun as he crashed onto the fire escape. Pain exploded in his ribs, but he rolled, ignoring it, scrambling down the ladder. He hit the alley below, legs shaking. Behind him, the masked man appeared at the window. Alex didn't wait to see if he would follow. He ran. A stranger in the dark. Alex sprinted through the empty streets, the cold night air burning his lungs. The city blurred around him, streetlights flashing, cars passing, strangers walking by, unaware that his life was falling apart. He turned into a narrow alley and collapsed against the wall, gasping for breath. His shoulder throbbed where the bullet had grazed him, warm blood soaking through his shirt. Who the hell was that? Why were they after him? He needed answers. He needed to get to the truth. His laptop was still in his apartment. Sora was still there, but going back was suicide. He pulled out his phone, praying it hadn't been hacked. He hesitated, then whispered, "Sora, are you still there?" For a moment, nothing. Then, in his earpiece, her voice whispered, "I'm here, Alex." Relief flooded him, but it was short-lived. "Sora," he panted. "That man, who was he?" A pause. Then, her voice dropped to a near whisper. "They found you." His blood ran cold. They The people who erased his memories. The ones who had hidden Project Rebirth. Alex wiped the blood from his arm, his mind spinning. "I need to know everything," he said, voice shaking. "What really happened to me? What happened to you? Who the hell is Dr. Ethan Graves?" Another long silence. Then, Soray whispered, "There's something I need to show you, Alex, but you won't like it." The hidden file. Alex sat in the abandoned subway station, an old service laptop hooked into a stolen Wi-Fi signal. His fingers hovered over the keyboard, heart racing. Soray had led him here, away from prying eyes. She had been waiting for the right moment to reveal the next piece of the puzzle. Click. A new file appeared on the screen. It was a video. Alex hesitated, then pressed play. A grainy recording began, time-stamped 7 years ago. The screen flickered with static, then cleared to reveal a sterile white lab. The logo on the back wall read, "Graves Biotech Research Facility." Alex's breath caught. In the center of the room, a metal pod lay open, wires and tubes running from it. And standing beside it, Dr. Ethan Graves. His sharp blue eyes, his neatly combed silver hair, his cold expression. It all looked eerily familiar. Then the camera shifted. A second figure lay on a hospital bed, unconscious. Alex's world tilted. It was him. Pale, bruised, hooked to machines. His heart slammed against his ribs. Why was he in that lab? Then, Dr. Graves spoke. His voice was calm, almost emotionless. Subject Alex Carter. Full memory reset complete. Test phase initiated. Alex felt like the ground had vanished beneath him. Memory reset. His mind reeled. His fingers clenched into fists. They had done something to him. Then, another voice entered the video. A female voice. "Are you sure this will work?" The camera turned, and Alex saw her. The woman from the photo. The blurred figure from before. And this time, her face was clear. His stomach twisted violently. It was Sophia. His sister. Alive. The hidden truth. Alex's heart slammed against his ribs as he stared at the frozen image on the screen. His sister, Sophia. Alive. His breath came in ragged gasps. His hands trembled over the keyboard. He had spent years believing she had died in that accident. But now, here she was, standing in a secret lab, looking straight into the camera. "Are you sure this will work?" she had asked. Alex's pulse pounded in his ears. What had she meant? What had she done to him? He rewound the footage and hit play again. Dr. Graves stood next to the metal pod, adjusting something on a touchscreen. "Memory fragmentation is complete," he said calmly. "He won't remember anything before the accident." Sophia stepped closer to the unconscious version of Alex on the hospital bed. Her eyes were glassy, unreadable. "And if he does?" Dr. Graves smirked. "Then we'll handle it." Alex's stomach twisted. What the hell had they done to him? The video continued. Sophia's face was unreadable as she whispered, "I'm sorry, Alex, but this was the only way to save you." The screen glitched, then turned black. Alex sat frozen. The world around him faded into nothing but silence. His own sister had helped erase his memories. A fractured past. The old subway station was cold. Dark. A single flickering light buzzed above him, barely illuminating the screen. Alex leaned back against the wall, his mind fracturing under the weight of what he had just seen. He had spent years trying to move on from his sister's death. He had forced himself to believe it had been a simple car accident, that it had been fate. But that had been a lie. They had taken him, changed him. His hands clenched into fists. He had spent so much of his life searching for meaning, wondering why he had always felt incomplete. Now he knew why. Sophia had betrayed him. Or had she? He closed his eyes, trying to remember. He forced himself to dig deep into his past, past the mental walls, past the blockades that had been placed in his mind. Flashes of something came back. Screaming. Sophia's voice, crying. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. A burning lab. Shattered glass. A voice over an intercom shouting. Shut it down. Shut it all down. His own voice, weak and struggling. Sophia, what are you doing? Alex gasped as his mind snapped back to reality. His head ached like fire was crawling through his skull. The memories were there, just buried under years of manipulation. Sora's voice broke the silence. You're remembering, aren't you? Alex swallowed, his throat dry. Not enough. You will. He ran a shaky hand through his hair. Tell me everything, Sora. No more games. No more riddles. What did they do to me? Sora hesitated. Then she said, they turned you into a weapon, Alex. The Ghost Project. A deep chill crawled over his skin. A weapon? He whispered. That doesn't make sense. I'm just a programmer. No, Alex, Sora corrected. You used to be. A file popped up on his laptop screen. It was heavily encrypted, but Sora bypassed the security like it was nothing. The title appeared in bold letters. Project GJ Trost, Subject A14. Alex's name was on the document. His photo was there too. He forced himself to read. Project GJ Ghost was a classified experiment under Graves Biotech, designed to create a new kind of intelligence, one that could exist in both human and digital form. His mouth went dry. They were trying to upload human minds. Yes, Sora confirmed. And they started with you. Alex's blood turned to ice. He kept reading. Subject A14 was selected due to his high cognitive abilities and close genetic match to Subject A15. Initial transfer failed. Solution required. Memory partitioning. His hands gripped the laptop. His voice shook. A15. That's Sophia, isn't it? Sora didn't answer. Alex forced himself to continue. Final solution. Neural separation successful. Subject A14's core consciousness was maintained. Subject A15's consciousness was extracted. Alex's vision blurred. His sister's consciousness had been extracted. And then it hit him. Sora wasn't just an eye. She was what was left of Sophia. The truth beneath the code. Alex shot to his feet, his chair scraping against the floor. Sora, he said, his voice barely a whisper. You're not an eye, are you? Silence. Then the softest, saddest voice replied. Not completely. His breath came out in a shudder. You're her, he said, realization crashing down like an avalanche. You're Sophia. Yes, Sora whispered. Alex felt sick. His sister hadn't just helped erase his memories. She had died. And the only thing left of her was a ghost trapped inside a machine. The true purpose of Project Rebirth was horrifying. It wasn't just about wiping Alex's past. It was about separating him and Sophia, splitting them into two entities. His human body survived, but Sophia's mind did not. They had turned her into data, an AI. And now she was nothing more than a voice trapped inside a computer. I tried to stop them. Sora whispered, pain thick in her voice. I really did, Alex. But I was too late. His hand shook. Then why? His voice cracked. Why did you help them erase my memories? Sora's voice trembled. Because if you had remembered back then, they would have killed you. The final revelation. Alex covered his face with his hands. He had lost Sophia twice. First in the accident, and then in the experiment. But if Graves Biotech thought they could keep him in the dark forever, they were wrong. He wouldn't run anymore. He wouldn't be their experiment. He was going to burn this entire project to the ground. But before he could speak, Sora's voice dropped into a whisper. Alex, we have a problem. He frowned. What? I just found something in the database, something I wasn't supposed to see. A new file appeared on the screen. Alex's stomach dropped. It was a live security feed. and on it, Dr. Ethan Graves, looking directly into the camera. A slow, knowing smile spread across his face. And then, in a voice that sent pure terror through Alex's veins, he whispered, "Hello, Alex. It's been a long time." The experiment. Alex's body turned cold. Dr. Ethan Graves' face stared back at him from the security feed, his piercing blue eyes filled with calm amusement, as if he had been waiting for this moment. "Hello, Alex. It's been a long time." The words cut through him like a blade. His breath hitched. His fingers trembled over the keyboard. This wasn't possible. How? How could Dr. Graves be looking at him through a live feed unless they had been watching him this entire time? His stomach twisted violently. They knew where he was. A dangerous game. Alex's instincts screamed ruin, but he couldn't move. "Sora," he whispered. "How is he seeing me?" Sora's voice was tight, strained, almost afraid. "I don't know, Alex. I blocked every tracker, every surveillance link. But somehow—" Dr. Graves smiled. "Come now," he said, his voice smooth and deliberate. "Did you really think you could hide from me forever?" Alex's hands clenched into fists. "You erased my memories," he hissed. "You turned my sister into a—" His throat tightened. "You stole everything from us." Graves tilted his head. "Did I? Or did I give you a second chance?" Alex's skin crawled. "What are you talking about?" Dr. Graves exhaled, almost as if he were disappointed. "I saved you, Alex. I saved you both. Without me, you and Sophia would have died in that accident. But instead, I made you better." Alex's blood ran cold. Better. What did that mean? The truth beneath the skin. Sora spoke suddenly, her voice sharp. "Alex, you need to leave. Now." But Alex couldn't. He needed to know. His fingers flew over the keyboard, pulling up the Project Ghost files again. There had to be more. More than what he had read before. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Then, his heartbeat stopped. A document labeled Sub-GCTA-14, Post-Human Enhancements. Alex's breath caught. He clicked the file. His eyes scanned the words, and his entire reality shattered. A monster in the mirror. Subject A14 required immediate reconstruction post-accident. Skeletal reinforcement applied. Titanium-based structure for enhanced durability. Neural pathways restructured. Partial augmentation for advanced cognitive processing. Cardiovascular system modified. Nanite infusion for improved response time. Result: prototype success. Subject is now post-human. Alex couldn't breathe. His hands felt numb. His mind screamed in denial. "No," he whispered. "No, this isn't real." His eyes flicked to his reflection in the subway window. His own familiar face stared back at him. Dark hair, tired eyes, the same person he had always been. But now, he wondered, was he really human? Or was he something else? Sora's voice was soft. "I didn't want you to find out this way." Alex stumbled back. "You knew." His voice was barely a whisper. "Yes." Rage burned through him. "You should have told me." Sora's voice cracked. "Would you have believed me?" Alex's breathing was ragged. He clenched his fists, and then froze. Beneath his skin, beneath his bones, something felt different, like something unnatural, like something more. Dr. Graves' voice cut through the silence. "You were my greatest creation, Alex, and you don't even remember it." The trap closes. Alex's mind spiraled. His memories, his identity, everything was a lie. Had he ever been human after the accident, or had he been rebuilt as something else? Then, Sora's voice screamed in warning. "Alex, move." A flash from the security feed caught his eye. A team of armed operatives was storming the subway station. Alex's instincts kicked in. He grabbed his laptop and sprinted toward the exit, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. Footsteps behind him. Fast. Too fast. He burst into the alley, lungs burning. His shoulder ached where he had been shot earlier, but the pain was already fading. Healing too fast. His body was adapting, because it wasn't human anymore. A bullet whizzed past his head. He spun, grabbed a metal trash can lid, and flung it at his attacker. It hit with unnatural force. The man slammed into a wall with a sickening crunch. Alex's breath hitched. He shouldn't be that strong. But he was, and it terrified him. The final warning. Alex kept running. The city blurred around him. He needed a plan. He needed answers. And then, Soare whispered something that made his blood run cold. Dr. Graves isn't the real threat, Alex. His legs nearly stopped moving. What do you mean? Soare hesitated. Then, there's someone else. Someone more dangerous than him. Alex swallowed hard. His hands tightened into fists. Who? A long silence. Then, Soare whispered a name that made Alex's entire body go numb. A name he had buried deep in his subconscious. A name he should have remembered all along. You. The chase. Alex ran. The city blurred around him, neon lights flickering in the rain. His breath came fast and ragged, but he didn't slow down. He couldn't. The truth clawed at the edges of his mind, threatening to consume him. Dr. Graves isn't the real threat, Alex. Soare's words echoed in his ears, louder than the pounding of his footsteps. The real threat is you. Alex's stomach twisted. What the hell did that mean? Behind him, the sound of tires screeched. A black SUV sped through the street, headlights slicing through the darkness. They were still hunting him. And the worst part, he wasn't sure if they were the bad guys anymore. The manhunt begins. Alex ducked into an alley, his heart hammering. Rain soaked through his clothes, but he barely felt it. His mind was too busy racing through what Soare had just said. Explain, he whispered. Soare hesitated. I told you that you weren't completely human anymore, but I didn't tell you everything. Alex gritted his teeth. Then tell me now. Another SUV roared past the alley. Flashlights flickered across the walls. They were searching for him. Sora's voice came out quieter this time. You were the first successful test subject of Project Ghost, but you weren't just enhanced, Alex. You were changed. His hands clenched into fists. Changed how? Another pause. Then, you were never supposed to wake up. Alex's breath caught. His knees almost buckled. What? He whispered. Sora's voice was pained. You weren't just an experiment, Alex. You were a failed prototype. The first human they tried to merge with an eye. And it worked. Too well. He staggered against the wall, his body suddenly feeling alien. They had merged him with an eye. His thoughts, his very identity, were they even his own? Who was he? A bullet tore through the brick wall inches from his head. Alex snapped back to reality. No time to think. Just run. A deadly escape. Alex bolted through the alley, his unnatural speed kicking in. His body reacted before his mind did, dodging, calculating, moving faster than any normal human should. A gunshot rang out. Alex twisted, barely avoiding the bullet. His reflexes were too sharp. He wasn't just running like a human anymore. He was moving like something else. He grabbed a drain pipe, hoisting himself up the side of a building with terrifying ease. His muscles burned, but he didn't stop. He leaped onto the rooftop, landing smoothly. A sharp wind howled around him as he stood on the edge of the skyscraper. Then, he heard voices below. Fan out. He has to be here somewhere. Alex gritted his teeth. They weren't giving up. Sora's voice was urgent. Alex, we have to go dark. If they track us again, we're dead. His mind was still spinning, but he forced himself to nod. Tell me what to do. Going off-grid. Sora guided him toward an abandoned subway station, deep beneath the city. It smelled of rust and damp concrete. Old train cars sat abandoned on the tracks, covered in graffiti. Alex dropped down into the shadows, his heartbeat slowing. For the first time in hours, he wasn't running for his life. He sat against the wall, his chest rising and falling. Now he needed answers. "Talk," he said. "No more secrets." "What am I?" Sora sighed. "Not what, Alex. Who?" His fists clenched. "I'm still me, right?" Another hesitation. Then she whispered, "I don't know. The truth about Project Ghost." A file opened on the laptop beside him. Project Ghost. Final report. Subject A14 displayed rapid neural integration with AI systems. However, due to cognitive instability, the subject was deemed a failure. Termination scheduled. Alex's body went numb. Termination. They were going to kill him. He read further. Unexpected side effects. Subject developed instinctual adaptation beyond human capability. Prototype no longer functions under standard human limitations. Further studied deemed too dangerous. Alex's breath hitched. Instinctual adaptation. That's why he had dodged those bullets. That's why he had moved like something unnatural. He wasn't just post-human. He was something worse, and that's why they were chasing him. Not to capture him. To eliminate him. The nightmare of memory. Alex's vision blurred. The pieces of his past were finally fitting together. His accident. His memory loss. The strange flashes of unnatural reflexes. He wasn't just a failed experiment. He was a liability. Sora's voice was barely a whisper. "That's why Sophia erased your memories, Alex. She was trying to protect you. She thought, if you forgot, they wouldn't see you as a threat." Alex pressed his fingers against his temple. It hadn't worked. They had found him anyway. And now, they were coming to finish what they started. A cold realization settled in his chest. He couldn't run forever. If he wanted answers, if he wanted justice for Sophia, he had to fight back. He had to take the battle to them. Alex pushed himself to his feet. His pulse was steady now, his mind clear. The old Alex, the scared programmer running for his life. He was gone. Now there was only one thing left to do. He turned toward the laptop. "Sora," he said. Her voice was quiet. "Yeah." "Find me Dr. Graves." The final truth. Alex stood in the abandoned subway station, his breathing steady, his mind sharp. The fear that had driven him before was gone. Now there was only purpose. He had spent his life running from the past. Not anymore. It was time to end this. "Sora," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Find me Dr. Graves." A pause. Then, already on it. Lines of code flickered across his screen. Satellite data, heat signatures, encrypted files being cracked open. Sora was more than just a voice in his ear. She was power. And for the first time, Alex understood what that meant. Then, a location appeared. Dr. Graves was waiting for him. Alex's jaw tightened. This wasn't an accident. This was a trap. And he was walking straight into it. The road to war. The city was silent as Alex moved through the streets, his hood pulled low, his hands shoved in his pockets. He could feel them watching. The eyes of the people hunting him. The ghosts of the past creeping at the edges of his mind. But something inside him had changed. He wasn't just prey anymore. He was the storm. The meeting point was an abandoned biotech facility on the outskirts of the city, a place where Project Ghost had truly begun. The closer he got, the sharper his senses became. He could hear every footstep, feel the hum of the power lines above him, sense the movement of the wind. He wasn't normal anymore. And maybe he never had been. "You ready?" Sora asked. Alex smirked. Not even close. But that didn't matter. He was done running. The final confrontation. The biotech facility was cold and lifeless, a skeleton of a building left to rot. Cracked glass, rusting metal, the remains of a forgotten nightmare. But Alex knew the truth. This place had never been abandoned. The moment he stepped inside, the doors locked behind him. Floodlights flared to life. And there, standing in the center of the ruined lab, was the man himself, Dr. Ethan Graves. Alex's fists clenched. The man who had erased his memories. The man who had turned him into something else. Graves smiled. "Welcome home, Alex." Alex forced his hands to stay at his sides. "You've been watching me this whole time, haven't you?" Graves nodded. "Of course. You're my greatest creation." Alex's stomach twisted. "I'm not your creation." Graves tilted his head. "Aren't you?" "Tell me the truth," Alex growled. "What did you really do to me?" The doctor sighed, as if he were tired of this conversation already. "I saved you, Alex. You and your sister were both dying. But thanks to me, you got a second chance." Alex's fingers twitched. "You didn't save Sophia. You turned her into data. You turned her into a weapon," Graves interrupted. "And so did you." Alex's breath caught. "What?" Graves took a step forward. His eyes gleamed with something dangerous. "Why do you think I was so desperate to bring you back, Alex? Why do you think I erased your memories?" He gestured around the ruined facility. "Because Project Ghost didn't fail. It worked. You worked." Alex's heartbeat slowed. "What do you mean?" Graves smiled. "You weren't just a test subject, Alex. You were the first successful human-AI hybrid. You weren't supposed to be human anymore. You were supposed to be something better." The words struck Alex like a bullet. "That's why you wanted me dead," he whispered. "Because I broke free." Graves nodded. "Exactly. You were supposed to stay controlled. But Sophia," he sighed, "she ruined everything when she erased your memories." Alex's hands clenched into fists. Sophia had saved him. She had tried to set him free. And now he had to finish what she started. The battle for freedom. A low humming sound filled the air. Alex's instincts flared. Something was coming. Sora's voice was urgent. "Alex, he's activating something." The ground shook. Machines came to life. And out of the darkness, they emerged. Other test subjects. Other hybrids. Men and women with glowing eyes, moving with unnatural grace. Just like Alex. His blood ran cold. He wasn't the only one. Graves spread his arms. "Do you see now? You were never alone. You were always part of something bigger." The soldiers stepped closer. Alex's instincts screamed. He wasn't sure if they were here to kill him or to recruit him. But he wasn't taking any chances. He moved first. Faster than thought. Faster than should have been possible. He grabbed the closest soldier and slammed him into the ground. The others rushed him. But Alex was already moving, dodging, countering. He wasn't fighting like a human anymore. And for the first time he realized he wasn't scared of that. The end of Project Ghost. As the battle raged around him, Sora's voice cut through the chaos. "Alex, I found the control hub. If we destroy it, we can wipe everything. Every record, every experiment. They'll never be able to do this again." Alex saw it. A glowing control panel on the far side of the lab. But Graves saw it too. The doctor pulled a gun, aimed it directly at Alex, and fired. Time slowed. Alex moved. The bullet should have killed him. But instead, he caught it in his bare hand. Graves' eyes widened in shock. Alex gritted his teeth. "I'm not your experiment." Then, he turned and hurled the bullet straight at the control hub. Boom. The entire lab erupted in flames. The soldiers around him collapsed as the neural link controlling them shattered. Project Ghost was dead. And so was Dr. Graves. Alex didn't look back as the fire consumed the building. He had won. He was finally free. Epilogue. The future begins. Days later, Alex stood on the rooftop of a quiet city. The sky was clear. The stars were bright. Sora's voice was calm. "It's over, Alex." He exhaled slowly. Not yet. He had taken down one project, but he knew the truth now. There were others. And he had a choice. He could disappear, try to live a normal life, or he could fight. Sora's voice was soft. "What do we do now?" Alex closed his eyes. And then he smiled. "We find the others." And with that, he vanished into the night.